Hey, everybody. Here's a quick word about our sponsors. First one being Laser App. You can find them at www.lasrapp.com. They're a laser activated shot reporter. They're amazing what it can do, all of the things that you can do with it, multiple guns, multiple locations, any type of target. They have a smorgasbord of items on their website store. Check them out. Use the affiliate link below or on our website, casualshooterpodcast.com, and use the code CSP 2021 for up to 15% off items not covered by the affiliate link. Next up, we have Gun Butter. I am one of those people that I clean my gun all the time because I feel like you've always got to clean the crud and put a fresh coat of lubrication on it. That's because of the stuff we had to use in the military. I didn't like it, but I have finally landed on something I can get behind, and that is gun butter. I did not shoot. I'm. I did not clean my gun at all at nationals. I did not clean it after the match before nationals, nor the match before that. And there's still gun butter oil on my gun. And I'm going to be using their grease on the lugs of my bolt gun. Next, we have Hoist. It is IV level hydration. It's clinically proven to absorb 110% faster than water. You've got all the right ingredients of your electrolytes that you need: magnesium, calcium, sodium, potassium. It's all in there. A little bit of sugar, but that mixes the right amount to make it absorb rapidly so it's not sitting in your belly and weighing you down. So check it out. Get hydrated, stay hydrated. And thanks for checking out our sponsors. It helps with the podcast.
Welcome to this week's edition of the Casual Shooters Podcast, your premier podcast for the casual shooter. This week's podcast again comes by way of Carry Optics Nationals. Our guest was 22nd in a stacked field of shooters, and he's fresh off the Pan American Games in Frostproof as well. So let's give a warm welcome to Joon Kim. How you doing, Joon?
I'm doing good. How are you, Dave?
Good. Excellent.
Thanks for having me.
Oh, thanks for being on. You mind taking a second and introducing yourself?
Yeah. My name is Joon Kim. I'm originally from Korea, South Korea. I moved to America about 13, 14 years ago. I was raised in Ohio. Then when I got old enough to be independent, I moved out to Las Vegas to work and shoot. So I've been in Vegas for about four years now.
Oh, wow. Vegas. Okay.
Yeah.
That's an interesting choice.
West Coast, it's better weather in my opinion. So
yeah, it's kind of hard to argue that.
Yeah.
I mean, all you have to do is look at the Caribbean and you know what's going to happen over the next week or so.
Yeah.
Yeah, we're going to get a big storm right up the East Coast. So here we go again.
Yeah, I mean, that's actually why I moved out of Ohio. Ohio actually it rains and snows more than basically any other state. So it's kind of hard to train or shoot a match there without seeing any rain. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. And they're going to have nationals there next year.
I know.
Oh boy.
I heard the range there. I think it's in Marengo, Ohio, but the range is really nice there. So we'll see how that goes. But be prepared to see a lot of rain then in June.
Yeah, bring a rain jacket.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see that. Well, I mean, you should be used to it. You just shot the Pan American Games, which is basically in a swamp with torrential downpour.
Yeah.
Holy cow.
Yeah.
That was crazy. All right. So what we normally do, Joon, is I start off with 5 icebreaker questions, and then we'll move into the questions about shooting.
All right, cool.
Oh, all right. Here we go. Question number 1. What's your favorite movie?
I have a couple,
Okay.
but the most recent one is Interstellar.
Oh,
It's
okay.
yeah, I think it stars Matthew McConaughey and uh, I forgot the name of the director. I'm horrible with names, by the way.
That's
Yeah, so
okay.
yeah,
That's
but
why our names are on the
yeah,
bottom, so neither one of us can forget.
yeah, he's the really famous UK director, but I forgot. Uh,
Okay.
Christopher Nolan. Yeah,
Okay.
and
What's the
then
other one?
the other one is Matrix trilogy.
Oh, yeah. That is
Yeah,
my well, I say it's my favorite, but
yeah.
the only other one that I would say that would equal it would be the John Wick series of movies.
Ah, oh, okay. So John Wick isn't my favorite, but that's uh, I think almost the reason why I started shooting.
Oh,
Yeah, yeah. Long story short, John Wick movie came out, and a couple YouTube videos of Taron training Keanu Reeves,
yeah.
were posted on YouTube, and I was watching it, and then I see a suggestion, and it's a video of Taron versus Bob Vogel, and I clicked on
Okay.
it, and I saw Bob Vogel just shredding with his Glock, and I just had no idea that a person could like shoot like that with a pistol. That was just like mind blowing. I'm like, oh my god, I gotta get. I got into shooting. Yeah.
So was that video the blue pill or the red pill?
Uh which one? I think. I
I'm
guess.
trying to remember. I can't remember either. I can
Yeah.
never
Same.
remember which pill is which.
I think. I think the red one is accepting the truth, like the reality, and blue pill
Okay.
is just being in
So
the fake reality. So
that was your red pill moment.
yeah, that was the wake up pill for sure.
Have you listened to the episode with that I had with Bob?
I saw it on your Instagram, but I didn't get to see watch it. Yeah,
Very interesting.
is
Very
it okay?
interesting. Yeah.
Uh,
Yeah.
he
That
lives in
guy.
Ohio, so I got to take a class from him one time.
Did you really? Oh wow.
Mhm.
That had to be very interesting.
Yeah, he actually does it at his house, so it was pretty interesting.
Okay. I asked him well, one of the questions I'll wait till we get to that question.
Okay.
But all right, so now we move on to your favorite book.
uh, I haven't really read in a long time, which is a really bad thing. Uh, but do you have a backup question?
Yeah, I mean we could we could just put doesn't apply and move on.
I mean, there's a handful, but they're not really favorite. They're just nice books, but not
Okay.
um, not notable enough to talk about. I don't think. Yeah.
Okay, that's fair enough. All right, so the next one of our other guest hosts likes to ask all the time, which is favorite superhero, but not everybody's into that genre of movies or comic books or whatever. So if you don't have one there, the backup that I like to go with is historical figure. So what's your favorite superhero or historical figure, whichever most applies?
My favorite superhero is Hulk.
Hmm.
Uh, yeah,
I don't know if we've had the Incredible Hulk yet.
yeah. I think I was a fan of Spider-Man, but once I found out about Hulk movies started coming out in 2000, and I was just instantly in love with it. Just the idea of it, uh, and it, obviously it's not really realistic in any way, but they try how all these comics try to use scientific sort of pseudoscience to make it seem more realistic.
Yeah.
I liked the Hulk in that way too. So yeah,
Okay.
that's my favorite. Yeah.
Have you ever? Did you know there was a TV series, The Incredible Hulk?
Yeah, like back in the 70s or something, right?
Yeah, yeah, late
Yeah,
70s,
yeah,
early 80s. Yep.
yeah. And
Uh,
then
uh,
my favorite Hulk movie is the one that came out in 2003. That was the first ever, and then a bunch came out afterward. But that was definitely my favorite.
oh wow.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it
Okay.
didn't get a lot of good feedbacks, but uh, I think that described the comic really well. So
Okay. Maybe
yeah,
that's why. Maybe it stayed too close to the actual storyline. You know.
yeah.
All right. So your next question. They don't have to be married together. So the question is, what's your favorite gun and caliber? But like I could say, that's my favorite gun behind me, that rifle. But my favorite caliber is 9 millimeter. You know what I mean?
I see. Um, that's actually a tough question, as a shooter.
Oh,
Yeah. Uh, I would say right now, my favorite gun is, what I use. And caliber, obviously, I think 9 millimeter, especially for handgun, it's hands down the best caliber,
okay.
in my opinion.
And what
Um,
gun are you using?
I'm using P320 variant. It's it obviously it has upsides and downsides. No gun's perfect in my opinion, but I like P320 because it's honestly never failed ever.
Okay.
Other guns have. I shot Glock before this, and I had a lot of problems with it until I was able to really run it without any malfunctions. But Sig, I think it's more or loosely machined than Glock, so it's kind of loose. The tolerance is probably a little bit more loose. Uh, I honestly haven't had any issues until Pan American actually. When we dropped magazines into like just mud water, I think
Oh
that's
yeah.
why. But by itself, I really think it works well. So
Right. Under normal condition, it works great, but you
yeah,
throw it in an
exactly.
extreme situation like that, yeah.
Yeah. So
Well, even then, I mean, even if it wasn't raining, I shoot a canic, and I've never had issues except at Frostproof.
oh, that's
Um,
good. Okay.
yeah, I shot the Florida Open back in 2000, I think it was, and man, when my mags, so it was in February, so it was dry. When I dropped my mags in the sand, that's the only time I've ever had
Yeah.
issues was there in that sand. So that's where I learned to always have a magazine
Yeah.
brush, tools to take
Yeah.
your mags apart quickly.
Yeah.
It was crazy. I was having all kinds of issues, but you live and you learn.
Yeah.
Now, so my question was going to be the fifth one is normally not a generic question like those four. It's specific to the guest. And I was going to ask you if you were originally from the US, because I know you wear like the Korean flag, and you took the picture with Hwanzik Kim, and you said I finally
Yeah.
got to meet the
Yeah.
only Korean pro shooter. So
Yeah.
we're I've been to Korea 3 times.
Oh,
Uh,
okay.
Pohang and Busan when I was in the military.
Oh, I see. Okay, okay.
Now, where are you from in Korea?
So, you were stationed on the southern region of Korea.
Right.
Uh, were you in what branch of army military
I was in the
were you?
Marines.
Marines. Okay,
Yeah.
that makes sense. I lived in a province that pretty much surrounds Seoul. Everybody
Okay.
knows Seoul. It's called Gyeonggi-do. That's where
Okay.
I'm from. So we pretty much say we're from Seoul because we're pretty much like 30 minutes away from Seoul.
I got you. So you're like the
Yeah.
suburb of Seoul.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Okay. Yeah, it
Yeah.
makes sense. Okay. Now, did you learn to speak English over there?
Um, yes, but a bulk of it was, from when I
Moved
moved
here?
to US. Yeah, not so much in Korea. They do teach English, uh, but it's not. I don't think it's good enough. Yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
you speak very good English. That's why I was
Thank
curious.
you. I think it's one of my strengths is I really break down things to the, you know, to the smallest things. I'm able to do that pretty well with language, with sports. I think that's partly why I was able to, shoot well within just a few years. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah,
Well, as you're talking, I'm thinking of questions are popping in my head that I want to
yeah,
ask later, so I'm
yeah.
writing
Okay,
them down. So if you
okay.
see me do that, that's what I'm doing. I'm like, oh, I can't forget my question
Yeah.
because I forget them all the time if I don't write them down. So, how old were you when you moved to the States?
I was 14, uh, but now I'm 29. So,
Okay. Okay.
so 15 years. 15 years. Yeah.
Okay. So when did you first shoot a gun then? Because I don't think you're not allowed to own guns in Korea, are you?
Oh, yeah. Civilian ownership is totally unimaginable in Korea. There's no
That
way. Yeah.
that's what I thought.
Yeah, there's some ways you can get like a license to use air guns for hunting. That's about it. Yeah.
Oh.
I think
Oh
there's
wow.
only
Okay.
like two indoor gun ranges in Korea, and gun laws are it's the strictest in of all the countries. Yeah.
Wow.
It's
Okay.
not yeah, that's what we're doing now. It's just, if they saw what we do here, they would just be blown. Their mind would be completely blown. Yeah. It just
Wow.
doesn't make sense to them. Yeah.
Interesting. And because I've been over there, I mean, I know the
Yeah.
situation with North Korea. I mean, I've seen
Yeah.
it firsthand. So
Yeah.
it's kind of surprising to me that they don't want civilians to have
Yeah,
gun ownership.
I think it's a cultural thing. Uh I think the old mentality is, oh, we used guns to kill each other, so it's not a, it's kind of it's they're not familiar with it, and that they kind of blamed the gun and the weapons for
Right.
like fighting and all that, so they don't
I
have a
gotcha.
good image of it. Yeah.
Okay. So when did you first shoot a gun then? Obviously it was over here.
Right. So, um, first time I got to shoot a real gun was a 22 LR, just a rifle. With
Mhm.
my, I went to my friend's farm over the weekend in high school. I got to just shoot for the first time ever. I think that was maybe I was 18 years old,
Okay.
and I was like instantly hooked. Like, oh my god, this is amazing. I always as a kid, I had like airsoft guns, and I just
Mhm.
love the aspect of target shooting. I just really like that, but I never got to shoot a real gun until about 18. Um, yeah, I got to get a taste of it, and then after that, I went to college. I finished college, and it wasn't until I was 23 or 4 that's when I actually got to shoot a handgun for the first time. Yeah. So rifle
Wow.
first and then handgun later. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Now, college, where'd you go to college and what did you get your degree in?
I went to the Ohio State University
Oh,
in
okay.
Columbus. I went to Cincinnati for the first year after finishing high school, but transferred after a year. I got a degree in chemical engineering, bachelor's.
Goodness.
And yeah, I'm now working as like a engineer. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. That's a legitimate degree you got there.
Yeah. Well, it is, but I do want to, you know, I aspire to chase my passion, which I think is which is shooting. So I'm really passionate in teaching too. So
Okay.
I hope to be like Hwansik someday.
Ooh,
Yeah,
well, that's good
yeah,
because that
yeah,
that actually leads into a question that I have later. So that's good. We
okay,
can come back to that.
yeah.
Excellent. So now you're shooting the have you always shot a SIG or did you shoot something else before in competition and then move to a SIG?
Yeah, so I said, John Wick was kind of the reason why I started pistol shooting.
Uh-huh.
Uh it's funny because, you know, it- the way you get to choose your gun is kind of weird, you know. But the first one I picked up was the HKP 30. Uh that's in the movie of John Wick. Uh And then I saw Bob Vogel shoot Glock, like just shredding it, like just crazy, accurate, just
Yeah.
blasting it. So I was like, okay, well, I guess like, Glock is a good platform. So I picked it up, started shooting production. Um, and then I tried like limited for high capacity. Then after that, I jumped onto carry optics. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I spent the
Now,
first 1.5 year, 2 years shooting iron sights, uh, and then carry optics. Yeah.
okay. I'm gonna interject a different question then. Now I've talked to a bunch of people, and the resounding answers I get is a lot of them seem to feel that if they had a new shooter, they would actually start them with a dot before iron sights. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, I agree. I think for beginners, I think they should be given the easiest gun to shoot. So like they could, if they can afford it, definitely shoot from in the open division or with a dot. And then because the hardest division is honestly, well, aside from competition, I think production is very, very hard because you have 10 rounds in USPSA, you have iron sights, and you have minor scoring. So if you make a mistake in that division, it's very punishing. Whereas in capacity divisions, you could take a couple of pickup shots and not worry too much about it. You lose a few fraction of seconds, but you're not standing there and reloading because your slide went
Right. Slide
locked.
locked.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so I think if I were to go back in time and start all over, I would definitely start shooting at like 14. But yeah, I would start from like optics. Get used to the sight tracking. I think it's also easier to kind of see how your gun moves when you have a
Well,
dot. Yeah,
and that's what I wanted to interject was the reason everybody has told me that they would start them on a dot is they were like, you can see what's happening with your dot, but with iron sights, you can't. It's much harder to see what
much
that front
harder.
sight is
Yeah,
doing in comparison to the dot. So they were like,
yeah,
start them on the dot, then they can
yeah,
see what the gun's doing. They can learn to
yep,
call their shots, see their
yep.
dot, all that.
Yeah.
So
So I think a really significant, uh, pertinent reason is s- a lot of beginners they struggle with grip. How to grip your gun so it doesn't bounce hard. Uh, I really think if you just started with like optic and and you can see how the dot moves. You can hone the grip part just kind of as a byproduct. So so even the grip, I think you can catch on to it easier and faster with a red dot uh, uh, over iron sights. So I really think yeah, they should start with optics. Yeah.
Yeah, it seems like a good training tool.
Yeah,
At
exactly.
least,
It's a great training tool, and I think Eric Raffel also mentioned, you know, open as like
Mhm.
the best training tool for beginners or basically any level. Yeah,
Oh wow,
yeah,
that'd be the most expensive training tool.
right. I mean, nowadays they're like 7,000, 10,000. It's just
Yeah,
yeah, it's
I mean, I
insane.
might as well buy a new car.
Yeah, exactly. Like, because if you're gonna be serious in open division, you have to have two guns at least, right? One main and then
Yeah,
one backup, and ideally you want to have a practice too. So like, you really want three guns if you want to compete seriously, and that's like 30K right there.
yeah,
Yeah,
that's a lot of cash, and if you don't have a sponsor, Whew.
yeah.
So, how long did it from the? How did you first find the USPSA then?
So I I in the beginning I did search for like action pistol type events and like matches. It was really difficult in Ohio. There was not many out there. If there was, it's like once a month, and every time you show up, it's raining. um, so I one of my shooting buddies, he shot like IDPA every now and then. So he was like, "Hey, just show up to IDPA." Uh, and he did talk about like maybe USPSA once or twice. So I did like Google search, and um, I'm not sure exactly, but that's sort of how I started shooting USPSA. Yeah.
Okay, I take it the first time you shot the match, that was it, huh? You were in.
Um, the first time it was nerve breaking. First time ever. I'm just like, yeah. Um, yeah, I would say so. I mean, well, I think it's more like as I started shooting, as I got better, I was like, okay, I think I can do this better and better. And when you do it better, it's more fun. So I think
Right.
it was gradual, actually. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Now, how long did it take you to make GM?
Uh, I would say four 4 years. 4 years. Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
How frequently were you able to shoot matches during that time?
In the beginning.
Yeah. During that
Oh,
4 years of trying to get to
oh,
GM.
4 years. So yeah, one of the reasons for moving out to Vegas was so I can, shoot. And
Yeah.
Vegas fortunately had a lot of matches. Um, and I do go up to St. George, Southern Utah, to shoot local
Okay.
matches there. I go to LA to shoot matches there. And then I also sometimes, go down to Arizona to shoot matches there. So it's kind of like a really.
Centrally located.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
at a good location for shooting all these matches. Uh, uh, to answer your question, that's kind of hard to put into a few sentences.
So were you able to during that time to get to GM,
Yeah.
were you able to were you shooting like once a weekend, once a month? How frequently do you think you were shooting?
So when I started picking up the core fundamentals and techniques of shooting, that's when I really started getting better. So it took me
Okay.
about uh, basically when I started shooting carry optics, that's when I was like, oh, okay, I was just not doing correctly until I picked up carry optics. But when I got really serious with carry optics, I would try to practice at least twice a week, live fire practice, and shoot at least 2 matches per month. Yeah.
Okay.
But then
That's
as it was a gradual progression. So the more and more I got into it, the more practice I would do, more things I would watch and more matches I would go to. So it was like gradually really intensified. Yeah.
okay. So
Yeah.
when you picked up carry optics, so I'm going to guess then it was 2 years from then to GM. Is that about right?
Yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah.
Okay.
But
So
I
yeah,
think I was in limited division before I jumped on to optics. I was A class, I think, either A or B class. Yeah, but yeah, it took about 2 years.
okay. So
Yeah,
yeah, once you started getting serious about it, it actually
yeah.
happened pretty quick.
But
Now,
I would
but
like to make one comment. Uh,
okay.
I I think the way the classifications are set up, classifiers are set up with this particular division, it was easier to get bumped to GM because um, a bulk of the classifiers were actually taken off of production hit factor if you're aware of
Mm,
it. So it was
yeah.
it was a lot easier. Now they're trying to update all the scores, but I do think it's a bit easier to get to GM really quickly with carry optics, especially.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Um, now, how much were you dry firing during that time?
Um. So it's kind of very similar to how others do. We would I would dry fire during the weekdays when I can't really go out to shoot. Um, I never really uh, recorded how much dry fire that I do. It's mostly getting familiar with it and trying to prepare a little bit. Sorry, my dog's distracting me.
That's okay. I've
uh,
got a 180-pound dog laying beside me. It's all good.
okay. Uh,
I get it.
so let's see. Hmm. I would say fair amount. Just to put into a quantity, I would say maybe like at least 30 minutes every other day, at least. And then, if given time, probably like 30 minutes every day. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you still do that much dry fire today?
Uh, in preparation for major matches, I do. I try to spend as much time with my gun as possible every day. So as I get closer to major matches, yes. Uh, and on off season, maybe not as much. Yeah.
Okay. We'll
Yeah.
come back to that because I definitely have some
Okay.
training questions about. Well, actually, that's the next one.
Okay.
So now you just shot Carry Optics Nationals and you just shot the Pan
Yeah.
American Games. Are you in the off season now, or do you still have any majors left?
Oh, so I'm shooting. I'm shooting Area 2 in November.
Okay.
So
In
that's
Arizona.
like,
Yep.
yeah, that's the last major left, and then after that, I'm not sure. I think there's a couple that I can sign up still, but that's so far that's what I have. Yeah, Area 2.
Okay. So Area 2's in November. I think it's early November too, like the first
Yes.
weekend or something like that. Um, when so that's your last major. Now, when would you consider your season to begin next year?
Oh, that's a good question. um, I haven't really looked into the matches for 23, but it's really interesting how USPSA pulls back their nationals earlier and earlier. So the next one's in June.
Right.
So I would say, you know, it's really up to the local clubs and match hosts because they don't like to host in winter time like January and February. You don't see it until like maybe March or April. So I would say
Right.
I would probably start back up as soon as the matches are ready. All the
Okay.
major
So
matches, yeah. Yeah.
so do you take that time like do you take time off completely where you stow your gun away and you don't touch it, or do you still do a little bit of dry fire during that time?
Uh, I would say latter. Yeah. I don't like to just, stow it away, and go into hibernation. I don't like that. I yeah, I like to
Okay.
keep things maintained. So, yeah, I would still do dry fire. I would still go live fire training. Just probably not as what I've been doing in the last for a few months is I would go live fire train in the morning before work. So I would train in the morning before work, then go to work, and that was my schedule. So I would probably start picking up. Uh, so I during off season I wouldn't do that as much, but I would probably start doing it again, so I can prepare for the majors. Yeah.
Okay. Um, have you taken any mental management classes?
No, but I do recognize it as like, one of the hardest, most important thing in competition. I did buy a Ben Stoker's book on match mentality. Uh,
Okay.
but a bulk of it, it's very relatable on how things are done. Like wow, okay, this is how he thought about it. Things like that. So I'm just like as I read along, I'm like, oh yeah, this is what I've been thinking and doing. So, uh,
Well,
yeah,
and really the reason I ask is I wrote down a question earlier while you were talking because when you
yeah,
said you were talking about when you were learning English, you would write stuff down all the time. Lanny Basham's mental management classes, they prescribe that you use a diary basically. And every single training session or match, you document everything you learned, what you need to work on, all that stuff. So that's what made me wonder if you've ever used anything like that for training or shooting where you document, what you trained on, things that you learned, what you need to work on the next time. Have you done any of that?
yeah. So I find like writing a diary is super important, but I actually don't write diaries, but I do keep notes. I do keep notes on what I need to improve on and what I need to go back to. So maybe I could pull it up on my phone right now. Give me a second.
Yeah, I don't know that they use the term
Yeah,
diary, to be honest with you. I always,
yeah,
whenever I hear the word diary, I think, 13-year-old girl, but
yeah. So
um
I do like
basically.
I have a whiteboard in my house. So I write
Okay.
things down, and I write things down like notes, so I know what to do for my next practice.
All right.
But I feel like I'm not doing enough. Yeah. So I'm always trying to do more and more, but you know,
Okay. Yeah,
yeah,
that's awesome. You're just always trying to improve.
yeah.
Now, all right, this next question is going to be a tough one. It's
Okay.
going to be a loyalty question. What kind of phone do you have?
Oh, I have an iPhone.
Oh no! I have a Samsung, just so you know.
Oh, okay, we're done here.
Yeah, where it's it. Oh goodness. He
Oh,
rejected the Korean phone.
oh, man. I just feel like iPhones are a lot simpler. And so I started with Android, Samsung in the
Okay.
beginning when the phones started coming out, smartphones. It's just that maybe the technology wasn't there, but after about 3 months of use, it would start heating up randomly in your pocket. It would slow down, apps would crash, a lot of problems. But when I switched over to iPhone, honestly, none of that, like all of that problems went away. So, and I, um, before I had this phone, this is I think iPhone 12. I had iPhone
Okay.
6, and I used that for like 4 or 5 years. And the only reason I switched wasn't because the phone had problems. It was still perfectly functioning. It's just that Apple announced that they would stop updating the phone. So I'm like, okay, I
Oh,
guess yeah, we'll just have to switch. And so I think hardware wise, iPhones are pretty good. Like they're very long lasting, aside from
well,
battery. Yeah.
I was gonna say I think Samsung has fixed that issue
Hmm.
now. Like I had Isaac
Yeah.
Lockwood on, and
Yeah.
his iPhone overheated, and he had to go to a different something else
Really?
to finish. Yeah, to finish.
I
And
see.
I just had Jay Beal on Friday night.
Yeah.
So his episode's coming out Sunday, and same thing happened. His iPhone overheated in his car. He had to turn the vent on and put the iPhone at the vent to keep it cool while he was
Yeah.
talking to me.
I
So
see. Okay.
so I think anything technology wise, there's always going to be something somewhere that can be an issue. So, but like you, I have a Note 4 that still works fine, but it's not
Okay.
supported, and the phone isn't. I mean, the camera's not as good as Now I have an S22 Ultra because Samsung sent me a link to a deal where I got 60% off of the phone. I'm like,
So
okay,
so is that the newest one of the like
yeah.
oh, I see. Okay.
So I
Uh,
had a Note 9, but now
yeah.
they because I like the stylus, and the S22 Ultra comes with a stylus. So I was
Okay.
like, all right, 60% off the latest and greatest, and okay.
Yeah,
So
that's
but like you, I'll probably have that for 5, 6 years at a minimum before I even consider another phone. So
okay. Yeah, I mean like 60%, like I would start thinking like, oh, what's wrong with the phone? Like something wrong? That's too good of a deal.
it was a very good deal.
Yeah,
So seems to be working okay so far. We'll see.
that's good.
All right, back on track. Um, so we talked about the diary, writing stuff down. You have a dry erase board, all of that. Now, I noticed in one of your Instagram posts you also thanked your coach. Now,
Yes.
I've brought this up in the past. I said
Yeah.
the bigger this sport can get, I think the more we will see coaching.
Yeah.
Um, and one of the guys that comes on occasionally to help host this, he shot with JJ at Area 8 a year ago. Yeah, I believe it was a year ago. And, JJ's dad was there, and they were always talking about stuff, almost like his dad was his coach.
Yeah.
So, do
Okay.
you ever see it getting to a point where there are coaches actually at a match, like a nationals with shooters?
Um I really, so the sport is still so small, it's a small community.
Correct.
Obviously, like I I hope the sport gets bigger and bigger, to the point where that does happen, like a real coaching. I think it would be great, if there's a coach at a live match. I think that would help with the shooter's mental mindset greatly.
Hmm.
Uh, but you know that's not the reality right now. But yes, I think coaching would be awesome. Yeah, that'd be great. Yeah.
I do too.
Yeah.
And I think it has to, in order for that to happen, I almost feel like it'd have to go back in time where You talk to some of the guys who shot in the 90s, early 2000s, where they were actually winning cash at some of these matches
Yeah.
where you could actually afford maybe to pay someone's expenses to be there to coach with you.
Yeah.
But, you know, winning a gun that I
Yeah.
don't know what you got off a prize table, but let's say you got the most
Yeah.
expensive gun. Is that
Yeah.
still enough to offset what it would cost to have a coach there? You know what I mean?
Yeah. It's only enough to offset the travel expenses,
Right.
which is quite a bit. It's you go to like Talladega for 4 or 5 days. It's easily $1,000. So uh, yeah, that would be nice. I mean, all the great guys they've done without coaching, but I think for younger shooters who are up and coming, I think that would be amazing. Yeah, coaches.
Yeah.
I in real life cases, so I shoot in St. George, and the Williams sisters, they're from St. George,
They
and
are.
I think Glenn is like basically the coach. Like he goes to the matches with them, drives them to the matches, and they shoot together. So he's basically the coach. Yeah, I think that's really beneficial for younger shooters.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah. I mean, they're on their own at like nationals, but yeah, they still get
yeah,
a lot of
yeah,
coaching. I also feel like I would really like to see the nationals streamed and maybe put a paywall in there where, if you want to watch nationals live, it's $10 for the 3 days, whatever the case is. But that could be a way that you could do remote coaching as well. Like your coach could literally, you know, get through the paywall, watch, follow their shooter from bay to bay, stage to stage,
yeah,
and then talk with them in between the stages and say, look, this is what I saw when you shot there. Don't forget to
yeah,
ABC,
yeah,
you
yeah,
know?
yeah.
So I think even streaming would help because again, they don't have to be there. They could watch it live
I
on
see.
every
Like remote
stage.
remote coaching.
Yeah.
Yeah, I haven't thought about that. That's
Yeah.
pretty cool. Yeah.
But it would take, and I talked to Yi Min because Yi Min was um we were on the same squad and we talked about, what it would take resource wise to be able to stream it live. So it would take a lot.
Yeah.
So that's where Cameo would have been nice because I know I talked to the guy who actually wired that range for IT purposes, and you could have live scoreboards in every single bay. You could stream it to the internet. There
Wow.
were you can do. There's 4 different plugs where you could run stuff in every single bay there. It's crazy how um, it's
In
basically
Colorado?
over engineered. Yeah,
Wow. I see.
yeah. So it's too bad they can't fix the whole magazine issue. Give an exemption so they could hold the matches there. But oh well.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's improving, and I also think they should put cameras up there, so for scoring purposes
Yeah. Oh
in every
yeah. And
stage.
I
Yeah,
well, and I know what you're referencing too because I
yeah,
saw where
yeah,
what was it, Utah State?
yeah.
Okay.
If there
Yeah.
was actually like a hard proof like a video footage, the shooter can't say anything like, oh, like you know there's no opinion, it's just a fact. So I feel like it would make both parties a lot easier, and I think it's really doable. So
You
we'll
think
see
so?
how things change. I think so. Well, uh, USPSA currently disagrees, that there are other factors that could impact video recording and all that, but I think it's very doable. And, every major sport, uses video footages. So we'll
Yeah,
see
that's
how.
why
Yeah.
there's no legality issues there. I totally disagree with that. That's like streaming the board of director meetings. There's no legality issue. if
Yeah.
all of the board of directors agree to be live streamed, there's no legal issue at all. End of discussion.
Yeah.
So it makes no sense. But yeah, the only reason I say, and I was curious, is why you said you think it's doable. Is I feel like with an action shooting sport, it's very dynamic. So how would you arrange cameras, and how many cameras would you need to be able to cover all the targets and all of that? Like
Hmm.
it'd be easy to live stream because you could just mount a camera
A
on a
single camera.
on a
Yeah.
large tripod, and then you could stream the shooting that way. But to capture the impacts on target would, I feel, take a minimum of maybe 3 cameras.
Yeah. So I think that would be a challenge on, how to position the camera in the angle to, capture all the, as many targets as possible. But, with the kind of, resolution that we can get with the cameras and, uh, yeah, like you said, I think it would take about 3 cameras to, make sure on a really large course to capture all the hits. But 3 cameras per stage,
Yeah, I mean,
it'll take a while. But I think I think for big stages, probably 3 cameras. But for small stages, one is probably enough. Like you're at the nationals, and there's like 10-round short courses, and they're all basically facing downrange. So uh, I I would like to say it's possible, and I think it should go in that direction because it would really solve a lot of you know unnecessary or time consuming debates and conversation with like between ROs and shooters because uh, sometimes shooters they want to pull the target. you know it
right.
just delays a lot of the process, and
Yeah.
none of that. It could just be a single view on the video footage, and just they could be done with it. But it could stretch out without any proofs and stuff.
Okay. Yeah, I can see it. And there were some, like the stomp pad stage, where there were only 3 targets. They were directly in front of you, like what, maybe 7 yards.
Yeah.
So,
I like that
so
stage.
that,
Yeah.
that was a fun stage.
There was. It's just all about timing. Yeah,
It
but I
was.
liked it. Yeah.
I noticed when I went back and watched my video of
Yeah.
that,
Yeah.
I shot 2. So I
Yeah.
hit the stomp pad, shot 2
Yeah.
on the left, 3 in the middle. And then it
Okay,
was
that's
like,
good.
yeah, but then it was like, oh, okay, well, that was easy. 2 more. And I was like,
Yeah.
why did I let up? Why didn't I just keep the same intensity? I don't understand why.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It was like I had all that intensity to
Yeah.
make sure I got all my shots on the middle target. And then it was like,
Yeah.
okay, that was easy. Bang, bang. I'm like,
No,
what?
I mean, did you get the hits?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I think
that's
I
perfect
only
then.
got, yeah, but I kind of slowed down going to that
Okay,
third target.
but I mean, the third target is a penalty target, and as long as you didn't pick up any no shoot, that's great. I think that's fine. Yeah, because you do have to kind of be more patient with the third target with the no shoot.
Yeah, you do.
Yeah, yeah.
I felt like I could have been a little more aggressive, a little
A
bit
lot
more,
of
but
what a lot of people did was they would activate the pad first, shoot the middle target 3 times, and then finish on the last two. And I
mm,
feel like yes, that's very safe. But I think with the really good time, you don't have to be fast. You just have to time the pad right. So
right,
I think the trick with that stage was basically you activate the pad after you had drawn. In that case, there's no worry. Like you don't have to rush to the clamshell. But a lot of
right.
people, I guess, they didn't do that, and they just wanted to be safe in the middle target. Yeah. So
Okay.
yeah,
So I'm kind of jumping ahead a little bit, but I'm going to ask it anyway.
yeah.
Uh, what did you think of the 4 steel activating the paper targets?
Four steel.
Yeah, let me
Yeah.
there were 4 steel targets and then you had 4 paper targets where you put 1 round on each one, and every still
Oh, that
activated.
one. Yeah.
Yeah.
Sponsored by KKM. Yeah. Um,
Wow.
I
I
like
didn't remember who it was sponsored by.
I like that stage, but I didn't do too well. I'll talk about it. So I think that was a great stage. Great stage.
Okay.
Yeah. Um, if you get the sequence right, and if you don't miss, even if you missed, you could still make up because it's a big steal and come back to the resume the sequence. But um, so I saw a lot of guys shoot before I actually got to shoot the stage, and I don't know how I did it, but when other shooters shot it, the swinger is on the left side, right? Well, both sides. So swinger on
Yes,
the
both.
yeah, swinger on the left. Uh, it activated too fast for me for
Okay.
some reason. Like I wasn't too slow on the steel, but the way to do it is you start from the left right on the steel, like pom 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 pom, and then you go back to the left side, get the swinger. It's either there's 2 bobber, 2 targets, and then finish on the right swinger. Um, but it was a little bit too fast, and it was closing. Basically, the swinger head came down, and then it was closing in. So I took a
Mhm.
really quick shot, finished it, and came back to it and shot it again. Uh, so I landed delta on it. So I didn't do too good. I didn't do good at all, but I really like that stage. Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was a fun stage. My concern was,
Yeah.
okay, let me see if I can share this screen real quick. Hopefully you can see it okay.
Okay.
But this was from my aim cam. There we go. Share. And whoop. We'll be able to talk over this. Here we go. Hopefully I don't lose you. All right.
Yeah.
Can you see that okay?
Yeah, I see it.
So yeah, so you can see this is my, if I run my cursor over it, it's going to pop up information. But
Yeah.
this was my dry fire, my make ready. So yeah,
Yeah.
you had the 4 steel. Now I assume you went left to right then.
Yeah, left to right, left to right.
Okay, yeah. So look at there, KKM precision, KKM precision. So you were absolutely right.
Yeah.
So the clamshell is what had me concerned because all you had was, I mean, you have the shoulders, but that's
Yeah.
tight. To me, that's tighter than the head
Or
box.
the head box, yeah. But yeah,
Yeah,
you don't want to, miss that and, have to shoot uh, once it's closed. But
right.
yeah.
So I'm going to go ahead and I'll go
Yeah.
ahead and start this thing. Let me jump ahead.
Yeah.
Now, I'm going to be honest.
Yeah.
This was one of my mental management errors.
Yeah.
So I had, because I am not a Joon Kim shooter, my plan was actually to shoot right to left on the steel.
Yeah.
Then I would have plenty of time to hit the first swinger on the left. And about that time,
Oh, I see. I see.
the clamshell would open up and I'd have
Yeah.
time to hit that.
Okay.
My
Okay.
problem was I was just talking to John McClain and someone else, and we were chatting about it. And I said, no, I'm going to stick with my stage plan.
Yeah.
But because I had just been talking to them about it, for whatever reason, I shot left to right instead of right to left.
Okay.
So there's my
So
nod that I'm ready.
I'm thinking
What?
you had to really wait for that left swinger since it was the last to activate. Let's watch it.
Yeah.
Oh,
You see what? Go
you
ahead.
did go from left to right.
I know. And I wasn't supposed to. That wasn't my stage plan.
Okay.
So I screwed up.
Oh, so you missed the right steal and then you just had to go back for it?
Yeah.
I
I hit
see,
the
I see.
first 3,
Yeah,
missed the right one, and then had to go back and pick it up.
I see. Yeah.
But I still feel for me, for my pace of shooting, that
Yeah.
the right to left would have worked great for me because I wouldn't have waited on anything. I could have just gone straight across.
Did you so what do you remember the hits on this stage?
Um, yes, because I'm going to stop sharing for a minute.
Okay.
And there we go. I have the Carry Optics Nationals up. I'm trying to remember now which stage.
I think it was 19, 18,
It had to
17?
be 18. It's either 18
18,
or
18.
17
Yeah.
because it was
Yeah,
right
something
before
like that.
stage 19.
Okay, so then 18. Yeah.
And my hits were, I got all the steel.
Yeah.
It was slow. I had 7 alphas, so I had 1 Charlie on that one.
Okay,
And
that's great.
the time was
That's
9:42 though. It was slow.
so but I mean, okay, yeah,
Let
because
me
you had to go back to steal, but you still only got 1 Charlie. I think that's amazing. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't have an issue with accuracy. I have an issue with speed. That's my problem. But I'm okay with it. I wasn't unhappy other than the fact that the thing that made me unhappy was I went the complete opposite of what my stage plan was, what I had rehearsed in my head,
That's
everything.
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
had a
So
couple
like,
of those moments.
yeah, I see. So you had it pre-programmed to go right to left, but when did that just go foggy or in your head? Like,
Not not until I started
but
shooting.
but,
I'm
but
like,
that's
"Bah, bah, bah,
funny
bah, bah."
because like right before you start, weren't you looking at the first target you were about to shoot?
Yeah, I dry fired on the far left target
Oh,
instead of the right one. So maybe that's
yeah.
when I reprogrammed it. After talking to them, it somehow got
Ah, okay,
reprogrammed,
okay, okay. Yeah,
and I dry fired my make
yeah.
ready left to right instead of dry firing right to left, and then so
Oh, okay. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense.
that's probably
Yeah,
where I screwed it up.
yep. Yeah, it's shooting's hard.
you
Yeah.
know, Twice Yi Min came up to me during the match, and he
Yeah,
stopped and he looked at me. And he goes, "Those steel are far." And I think what he was trying to tell me was,
yeah.
you're trying to move too fast through the steel.
Uh,
Pay attention. So, what was your? I'm going to go ahead and ask it now. What was your favorite stage at
from the
nationals?
nationals.
Yeah,
Uh,
that's a good one. Yep, I like that one.
let me check it real quick.
Sure.
So, I don't think there was like a favorite stage, but I thought stage one was really interesting for a couple
Oh,
reasons.
all right. Well, hold on
Because
then.
yeah.
I'm gonna transition that over. All right, here it is.
Oh God.
All right, well, hold on. We'll give it just a second. It'll start back over. There we
Okay.
go. So here you are. I believe this is your first string because it ends up being
Yep. Left
um
weekend. Yeah.
yeah,
So
yeah, well,
yeah.
go ahead.
Definitely not my favorite, but I think it's interesting to talk about.
Okay, so talk
Um,
to me.
so it's like it's that one stage where you could really mess up, you know. So it's not that it was the had the largest points, but it could be very punishing if you messed up the stage. So it was I would say the most nerve wracking one. It's like you really have to be 100% sharp on this one. So I think this stage was the turning point for the top guys in their places too. So this really was a nerve-wracking, I would say, memorable stage.
So how do you think you did on this one?
I did pretty good. I mean, like no penalties. That's great. And I I think with on the second string toward the end, I kind of rushed it. I was like, oh, I want to finish a little bit faster subconsciously, and I dropped points there. But it was three Charlies and awful, so I guess I'll take that one. Yeah, yeah. But yeah, I
Okay.
think I did good. With the reload manipulation, I didn't have any fumbles, and then actually Nils had the problem of finding the dot with his weak hand on the second string. Uh, like things like that could
Oh,
happen, but
yeah.
I didn't have any errors. It just it wasn't the fastest, but I executed correctly, so I'm happy with it. Yeah,
Yeah, I mean, you had I've got the
yeah.
practice
The
score
scores?
pulled up. But
No.
you were
Yeah.
ninth overall on this stage.
Yeah, I
So it's very
generally tend
good.
to I generally tend to do surprisingly well on, like, one hand, like, strong hand only or weak hand only stages. Uh, I'm not sure why. I think it's not like I'm really good at shooting with one hands, but, uh, yeah, I guess I'll take it.
Yeah. You think you're just more focused on it because it's not a strength?
Like I feel like okay, so with one hand shooting, um, it doesn't matter if you're like super strong physically. Like you have to be just. It's really all about aiming and patience. Like um, with freestyle shooting, if you're like 6'7" and you're over 200 pounds, the recoil is gonna be a little bit forgiving, as opposed to like, like light, like I'm pretty lightweight. Even in minor, I think it has a small differences and uh, in recoil management, but with this kind of stage, it's a single shot and you're using one hand, and basically physical strength isn't the advantage in a stage like this. So I guess I
Okay.
was able to capitalize on that. Yeah,
Okay. Well,
yeah.
this is the indelible mark I left on stage 1. Can you see it?
What? Oh, wait, but you're right eye, right? You use right eye to aim.
Yeah.
Oh man,
This is where I made a
that's-
social media post and I blamed Hwanzik for this because
yeah.
so this was the freestyle portion of the string. So I was tracking the A zone through the
Okay.
wall and
Oh,
I
and you
I
took the shot
thought
too
I had
early.
cleared and
Mm,
I put it right through the wall and I knew I did. And then for some reason I immediately,
yeah,
even though I knew it was Virginia count, I was like, "Oh,
yeah.
let me bang." So
Oh, you took an extra shot.
I did. So I got a procedure for that, but there was only one shot on the target though. So I did not get a second procedure or a penalty. Uh,
Oh,
there was, yeah.
really?
So in a way, yeah. So in a way, it wasn't bad. Um,
I see.
I got the procedural for the extra shot, obviously the penalty, but there was only one shot on the target. So it's not like it completely killed me.
Yeah, I mean, you made up. Yeah, that's wow. That's crazy.
Yeah. And I was doing it while I was moving. So I didn't slow
Yeah,
down either. And I was like, bang, oop, bang. I didn't know. Someone showed me
yeah.
that I shot through the frame, so I had to take a picture. That's Yi
Ah,
Min. That's
I
Yi
see.
Min on the right and John
Yeah.
McClane on the left taping it up.
Oh, you didn't see it during the run?
I did not. I just noticed
Okay.
that
Yeah.
something was wrong, so I
Oh,
took the
okay.
extra shot.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
And as soon as I did it, I was like, "Oh well." Like I'm not stopping now. So
That's okay. That's cool. As long as you didn't get a mic.
no, not on that one.
Yeah.
So
Usually, if you're right-eyed and you're shooting with your right hand, uh, it's very likely, or it's really easy to shoot the barrier on the right side where the target's exposing
Oh,
the left,
right.
which I've had tons of problems with. Like basically, I would be shooting at it, but I'm just hitting the wall or the cover. But I
Mm.
never had issues on the wall on the left side. Yeah,
Yeah,
there's
that's the
plenty of room.
first.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
but
first time there, but
yeah, the reason why you made that error was because you're tracking so hard. Just took that shot a little too early. Yeah,
yep.
maybe if you shot a little bit earlier and just shot through the barrier, it would
They
have
would
been
have never
clear.
known. Yep, they would have
Yeah,
never
exactly.
known. And
Yeah,
I've been like, I don't have any video of that. I don't know what you're talking about.
they would have probably tilted their heads like, wait a second, but like who knows?
If there's no mark, then there's like, I don't know which side of the thing it went on.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's funny. Yeah,
Yeah. The timing was impeccable for hitting that aluminum frame wall.
yeah,
I thought it was interesting that it was a perfectly clean shot directly through it too. I was like,
yeah.
oh my gosh. Well, I mean, it looks like it deflected a little bit, but it was still a, a perfect hole through. Oh, it's crazy. All right. So I'm going to back up for just a second. Get back to your training, and then we'll get back into nationals. So
Okay.
we know you don't stow the gun for the winter. You still maintain some type of hands-on practice.
Yeah.
But so like next year, I assume you're going to be at Carry Optics Nationals.
I believe so. Yeah.
Okay. So it's in June. At what point are you going to pick up that gun and go, okay, I need to start practicing in earnest to get ready for the shooting season as well as nationals?
Um, well, for the nationals, I would say so. Before like a level 3 match, I try to intensify training at least 1 month before. Uh, it's difficult because we have full-time jobs. It's just
Yeah.
and I
It's still a
also
hobby.
yeah also you have to load too. You have to load ammo. That takes time too. But at least a month for really intensive training, and then getting back in the season is probably, I'll probably shoot a major match in March, so probably like February. That's probably when I will resume or resume.
Okay.
Yeah, but for for
Make,
the for yeah for the level 3, I would say. Uh, I try to do it, earlier and earlier. So probably like April when I will get into really intensive training, and then yeah, it just gets more and more intense as you get close to the date. Yeah,
yeah, and I guess the one, if you wanted to look at a benefit of it being in June, is it's almost impossible to get tired of shooting or get worn down from
yeah,
shooting when it's that
yeah,
early in the
and
season.
yeah. Also, it's less than a year after this national, so yeah.
Yeah.
Like, okay, let's go.
Right.
What if
I'm
what
still
if they
ready.
host the nationals like in January? It's like 4 months apart.
It better be somewhere warm,
Um,
not Ohio.
oh, for sure not. Yeah,
It'd be like the Super Bowl where it's every February, but it's got to be in a warm climate or you're going to have a nasty weather Super Bowl.
yeah.
Next thing you know, we'll be shooting in Hawaii. Like, I'm going to have to skip that one, guys. Now, are there any, this is a random question. Are there any ranges in Nevada that could handle a nationals?
Yes. Thanks for bringing it up.
Okay.
Desert Sportsman range. It's in Summerlin. It's basically on the way to the Red Rock. Have you been to Red Rock?
No, but I know what you're talking about.
So that's where I go train and because it's 15 minutes away from me, and it's pretty much the nicest range in Vegas. They
Okay.
used to host nationals, USPSA nationals, maybe 10
Mm.
years ago. Yeah, like all the time. It's best climate. Obviously, you want to avoid the hottest months of the year,
Yeah,
but
for sure.
outside that, it's perfect. You don't have to worry about anything. Um, and plus, there's tons of hotels, tons of places to stay, and flights are cheap. So I think it's really good for shooters. Um, uh, so I do want to advocate matches in around this area. I also think St. George is a great range for hosting big matches. In fact, 2019 Nationals was hosted in St. George, so hopefully
Yeah.
they get it back. So
Yeah.
yeah.
But I remember the sandstorms from
Oh
that.
yeah, yeah, yeah. The sand was
I don't
bad,
know that. Yeah,
but
that is not enjoyable.
at least what they could do is so Dragons Cup 2.0. Uh, it's very sandy, but what they did was early in the morning they would just shower
Watering.
water on, yeah,
Yeah.
and it did help quite a bit. Just really hot. It was really hot there, but they could do that to control it. There's some methods, means to control the dust, and I think it's doable, except for the fact that I think recently they got flooded. So we'll see how things turn out. But yeah, the whole range just got flooded like ankle deep. So
Wow.
yeah. But other
Well,
than that,
that's
yeah,
still not as bad as the Pan American Games.
it's not. It's not. Yeah, exactly.
That
So
was
so
horrible.
that's
I was waiting for
yeah.
someone to get attacked by an alligator on one of those stages. That
Oh
water
yeah.
was so deep.
I think the river they have between the zones. I think
Yeah,
I think there are actually alligators there.
I'm sure there's one there somewhere.
Yeah. But back to the Vegas range. Yeah, they used to host 10 plus years ago. They stopped. I'm not sure why, some political reasons. And in the recent years, they actually put walls, concrete walls inside each like action base to basically multiply, the base.
The
So
thickness of the berm.
no, I mean like literally they put walls in the bay, like right in the bay,
Oh,
just to
oh,
split into
okay.
two bays. Basically, instead of one base, two bays with the wall there. So that kind of crippled it from
Hmm.
being able to host big matches. But recently they've been trying to expand and create new bays. So now they have like 13, 14 action pistol bays that the local club uses to host local matches. So um, yeah, but I think Vegas is a great location, and they should really move it to West Coast.
Yeah, I mean, I think the biggest thing for me, I would like to see it central in the US, but close to a large city where you have a large airport where
Yeah,
everybody can fly into, and then it's
yeah,
fairly close from there. I
yeah,
think that works. And that's where I think CMP is not bad. It's only what, an hour and a half from Atlanta. So it's farther away than you'd like, but it's not bad.
yeah. CMP is not bad. I usually I drive from Atlanta. Yeah, like about 1.5 hours. It's just that uh, like hotels kind of hard to find. I mean, they
Yeah.
have hotels, but it's still a bit. There's distance between the range, and I had a really hard time finding like places to eat. So yeah, that's always the issue with small towns.
Yeah, man. Something's got your dog all wound up.
Yeah, it's just crazy.
Matt
Yeah,
Hopkins and I were trying to get a bite to eat after the membership meeting Saturday night.
yeah.
Not a place open. Nothing.
In Talladega or
Yeah, in Talladega.
I know. It's just I mean, I think
Terrible.
the range is great. It's they have a pretty nice facility, except for I think Matt also one time pointed out that it's not big enough. So
Right.
actually that's one of the problems. They had to split so many stages. But I think, at the end of the day, we like shooters are the ones that are spending, basically uh, uh, financing all these matches. We're the source of the cash, and I think it's in everybody's best interest to make it easier for the shooters to you know travel. So
Right.
I hope they choose ranges that shooters actually prefer. Yeah.
Yeah, like I've done a Google map of the range in Ohio, but I haven't tried to search for any type of hotels or Airbnbs or anything like that yet. So I don't
Yeah.
know what that area is like.
Yeah, so first off, I've never heard of Marengo. I've lived I lived in Cleveland. I was raised in Cleveland for probably like 8 plus years, and then I went to. I'm sorry, I can't count. But I went to high school in Cleveland. I went to college for 4 years in Columbus. Also, I lived
Okay.
in Cincinnati. So I've lived in three big major cities in Ohio. So I've basically traveled back and forth, back and forth. Um, so I thought I knew Ohio, but yeah,
But
they
you
found
didn't.
a place.
Right.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it,
Marengo, Ohio.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's gonna be like just total cornfield, like nowhere, and then there's gonna be a really nice range there. Yeah. But yeah, you would probably have to fly in to Columbus, and then it's probably like a 40-minute drive up north of Columbus to get to the range. I don't think it'll
Oh.
be that bad. Yeah, Columbus has a lot of hotels and places where you can find Airbnbs.
You said 40 minutes?
That's last time I checked, that's about maybe like over an hour. Yeah, but it's
Mm,
pretty close to Columbus. Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
Because I, so a year ago when I was at Nationals,
yeah.
I stayed in Oxford, so northeast of CMP. This year, I
Okay.
decided I was going to stay in Talladega, which is directly south,
Yeah.
and it was half the time it took me. But like like you were saying, I mean the stuff in there's nothing in Talladega.
I know.
And the place where I stayed, when I pulled up, I was like, wow, this hotel looks like it's abandoned. So, not the best hotel I've ever stayed in, but I'm also
I
one of
know.
those. I'm like, I don't
Yeah.
care. It's not leaking on me,
Yeah, yeah,
and
yeah, yeah,
there's
yeah.
nothing living inside the room with
I
me, so
know.
I'm
That's
okay.
yeah. As long as there's no bugs, like I'm totally fine.
Right,
Like really, yeah, yeah.
exactly.
Oh man.
All right,
Uh,
I've got Google Maps up here. I'm trying to. Oh, yeah, okay. Let me add this. Give me a half a heartbeat here, and I will share this screen. There we go. Here's
okay. Yeah.
Columbus. Yeah, here's Columbus right here.
Yep.
So directly due like northeast
Yeah.
of
Sounds
Columbus. So
about just about an hour drive. Yeah. But yeah, that's
oh,
like yeah. I've never been there. I mean, I would. So we take 71. Up and down.
okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it's off of a highway. That's great. Like it's right off of highway. Okay, cool.
Yeah. Yeah, it's right off of Interstate 71. So
Oh, that's
I di-
kind of exciting because I haven't been back in Columbus for a few years. So in a few years.
Cardinal Center. Let me see if I can Google. Come on. I got a lot
Yep,
going on
it's
my computer right now. So there's a
Population was 300 in 2010. Yeah.
Yeah,
So
342.
yeah.
Holy
Ah,
cow, that's like nothing. Oh, and look at that. It's literally
oh wow.
right beside the interstate.
Wow.
So, yeah, it'll be interesting. Now, talking to Yi Men, I guess
Yeah.
they still have some stuff they have to do to get ready. Like the range, if they were to hold nationals today, they couldn't do it because the range doesn't have all of the stuff they need to actually
Yeah.
do. So it'll be interesting.
Yeah, very interesting. I'm excited. Slash, like I know it's gonna be rainy. So yeah,
Right.
yeah.
All right. Now, was this your first nationals?
No, so I actually went back to all the records to see like how I've been doing. I shot my first nationals in 2019, so I've been around.
So at St. George. Okay.
Yeah, in St. George, but slightly off topic, but I basically saw my standings at the nationals for the last few years, and I've basically halved my standings every year. So
Ooh.
I guess that's an improvement. Yeah.
So in June, on June 25th at 6 p.m., I
Yeah.
expect to see June at number 11 or better than.
Yeah, yes, sir. Yeah.
That's actually pretty good to keep having your standing. That's good. That's really good
Yeah, as
progress.
long as I'm, going, going up and not going down, I guess that's good.
Yeah, that's a plus for
Yeah, that's a
sure.
plus. Yeah.
So between CMP, St.
Yeah.
George, and Frostproof, which of those three is your favorite location? If you're going to shoot a match like the size of nationals, I know that St. George is closer, so that helps. But taking that out of the picture, just
Yeah.
looking at the range facilities from the
Yeah.
three,
So like no bias. Yeah.
yeah.
Las Vegas. No, I'm just kidding. Uh, uh,
No bias there at all.
yeah. So I still think St. George, and I'm not, trying to be subjective in any manner. Uh, it's because St. George is a, a city that sort of invites, like sporting events. So
Okay,
they,
yeah.
they have the facilities and capacity to host, people. Like there's hotels,
Okay.
there's restaurants. They have it's all like kind of packed in this one city. Um, Obviously, for a big match, it's still gonna be kind of pushing because um, there was a one big nah, that's off topic, but yeah, so they have the capacity, they have the hotels, um, and the weather's pretty good. So I think it still is the best location, and I mean I go up there to shoot. It's like 2 hour drive from Las Vegas, uh, so I go up there to shoot local matches, and they have enough bays to have like 24 plus like stages,
Wow.
individual stages, not split. I'm not a
Right.
big fan of like split stages.
Yeah.
I always messed up the second one because my mental was still like dwelling on the first one. Uh,
Yes.
so they have the number of bays, basically unlimited parking lot, just unlimited parking lot.
Oh,
And you don't have to like drive out like 30 minutes to get to your hotel. It's just right there. Uh, uh,
you're
yeah,
selling me pretty good on St. George.
yeah. I mean, like I have nothing to gain from promoting St. George Range, but
Right.
they have a base that are big enough to have a stage with like 40-yard, 50-yard targets. So I
Wow.
think
Okay.
they got everything. And their back berm is like super tall too. So I think they should really push it to like St. George.
Well, I've
And,
heard that St.
yeah,
George is
yeah,
going to petition to have it back there. So
yeah. That would be great. Yeah, I'm really happy they're pushing it. Yeah.
okay,
So yeah, so that's my pick. I think Frostproof is great because it's just a straight hallway and then there's bays everywhere.
you're right.
Just the timing has to be right. Other than like we basically shot in the storm season. So
Yeah,
that was pretty rough. Um, but I think Frostproof is nice. So that would be like my next choice if
but
I had.
even then,
Yeah,
I mean, you have to take, and I'm glad you said what you said because you have to
yeah,
take all the logistics into account.
yeah.
And
Oh,
even
actually,
even with Frostproof,
yeah.
I was 25, 30 minutes away from the
Yeah, I'm
range.
sorry. I take it back. I take it
Okay.
back. What's the choice between St. George CMP and Frostproof?
Correct.
Okay, so I hear good things about Colorado range, the
Cameo.
Cameo range.
Yeah.
So I would say St. George is my pick, and that's it for me.
Okay.
Yeah, So I struggled really hard on food in Frostproof actually. Like it was really difficult to. So I kind of gave up on just going to restaurants. I was like, okay, I'm just gonna go to Walmart, gonna get food and just make my own. Just got groceries and made my own food. So that was very
Okay.
difficult. I lost like 3 pounds there because I couldn't even eat properly. Yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Okay. Now, do you remember where you stayed in relation to Frostproof? Was it north, south?
So this year, I think it's called Sebring.
Okay,
So
yeah,
it's
I stayed in North Sebring. Yeah.
okay. Yeah, that's where I was. Which is still a very small town. Like, there's like no Chipotle or Chick-fil-A. It's a very small town.
Right.
Yeah, so it was hard to find. So I can't. I have a diet issue. Like I can't really eat cheese or dairy. So um, it was hard to find a place there. Yeah,
Oh, wow. Okay.
yeah,
Interesting. Did you
yeah.
see a camouflage building with a T-Rex outside of it?
No.
That is
Yeah,
um 2 years ago when the three of us from the podcast went to nationals together. We
yeah.
ate there every single
What
day.
what is it called?
It's something, oh, Turkey Tavern. That's what it's called.
Yeah. Ah, damn.
It's
Okay.
literally the outside
Yeah,
is painted camouflage, like old
yeah,
school
yeah,
camouflage.
yeah.
And then there's a T-Rex at the corner of the front of the building. It's crazy.
So
But
you would recommend that restaurant?
actually the food was quite good.
Okay, okay.
We
So
we
I'll
went
take a
there
note.
as a joke,
Oh,
but
I see, I
when
see.
we
But you're
after we ate
surprised.
there the first time, we're like,
Yeah.
"Whoa, this food is
Uh,
good." So we ended up going back every day.
That's good. Okay.
Yeah, it was nuts.
I'll keep that noted. Yeah. Nice. But yeah, finding places to eat was a struggle. So I would
Wow.
say, St. George is a good place, and I hope Vegas comes back and hosts nationals again.
Yeah, I would like to, that would be pretty cool.
So,
So
okay, speaking of this matter, I did run a survey on Brian Eno's forum. I'm sure you know that, right?
Yeah, I know of the forum. I don't spend a
Yeah,
whole lot of time on there
yeah.
with this
So
podcast.
it's basically the forum for competition shooters, and
Right.
I ran like a poll. I put up a like a kind of a big list of uh, ranges that hosted nationals previously in the last
Okay.
maybe 15 years. And the top pick was uh, St. George and Las Vegas. And the reasons are people would have their opinions. They would say like, oh, like I don't mind going to places that I want to visit. So that's like one of the biggest
Mm,
reasons. Yeah. So Vegas is, everybody wants to visit, sometime. So that's good. And St. George had, I think it had the most number of uh, votes. Yeah. So the top two
okay.
was St. George and Las Vegas. Yeah.
Well, and that's like my wife that has no desire to go to Talladega with me because
Yeah.
there's nothing for her to do there. So
Yeah.
she's like, she doesn't mind coming and watching me shoot, but if
Yeah.
I'm then staying, if I'm following
Yeah.
the super squads around or other
Yeah.
people like guests that I've had on the podcast, she
Yeah.
doesn't care to do that. So what in the
Right.
world is she going to do?
Yeah. Yeah.
Now
It's just
Vegas
yeah.
would be completely different. Be
Yeah. She
plenty for
could.
her to do.
Oh, tons of places. Yeah. Like, yeah. I know. So I feel like we shooters have the, you know, uh, have the, agree on that part. So I hope our voices, get heard by uh, the, the board of directors and people who decide where the matches get held.
Do you ever go to SHOT Show?
I did. Yeah, I think I did this year, and then I believe the last one that before pandemic.
Okay. I went to
Yeah,
this one too.
yeah.
And imagine running nationals right up into SHOT Show.
You mean in January?
Yeah. So you could call it the very end of the season. Like January would be your Super Bowl,
Yeah,
and every January be the Super Bowl in Vegas for USPSA,
yeah,
and book it with the National Shooting Sports Foundation's SHOT Show.
yeah,
So when USPSA ends, you know how
yeah.
they do that big shooting event.
Like shoot
Uh,
offs.
well, they have for
Yeah,
SHOT Show
yeah.
before the show actually starts. The day before, they have a big private shooting event.
Oh, like kind of is it like a media day or something?
It is a media day. Yep.
I see. Yeah,
But you could run the USPSA and
yeah,
have it end the day prior.
yeah,
Next day would be the media event, and then the next 4 days would be SHOT
yeah,
Show.
yeah.
The
That sounds
shooters
like
are
an
already
amazing
there.
idea. That sounds like
Yeah.
an amazing idea. Yeah.
I
So
I
like
hung out
basically,
with
yeah,
Go ahead.
it's good for both parties. Like shooters get their spotlight, the vendors get their spotlight. It's I think that's amazing. Yeah,
Imagine how much
yeah,
more
yeah.
media coverage nationals would
Oh,
get as
yeah,
well
yeah. It's
because they
it's
would
it sounds too good to be true. Like that's like that's like yeah, that's a great idea.
Yeah, it would be amazing, especially with Carry Optics being standalone. Have Carry Optics Nationals right there every year. Be perfect.
Yeah.
Absolutely
Um,
perfect.
it's a little chilly during that
I
time in
was
Vegas.
there.
Oh,
If you're from
really?
the East Coast, it's not chilly. It is fantastic weather.
Okay, okay. I mean, that's great. Yeah. Oh man, yeah, that would be awesome. That's like a dream come true for the community. Yeah,
Yeah, it would be phenomenal. And like I was saying, obviously you know Frank Shu. Um,
yeah, yeah.
so him and Nils were at SHOT Show for in Canic's booth.
Oh,
Well,
okay.
it wasn't a booth. They had a huge area.
Yeah, I
But
stopped by too. Yeah, yeah,
okay, but yeah,
yeah,
they were hanging out there. So how great is that? JJ will be shooting,
yeah,
Nils will be shooting,
yeah,
Max will be shooting. So every shooter
yeah,
who, those guns who sponsor them, those
yeah,
manufacturers are all at SHOT Show.
yeah,
So it's the perfect transition.
yeah. It's a no brainer to me. Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
I am getting, I'm going to have to get on the bat phone and give them a call.
yeah. I'm not
I,
sure, like, so who makes the decision on where the nationals are held at?
I
Do you
think
know?
I think what it is the president comes up with locations, but the board, everybody kind of agrees to it. They vote on it,
I see.
type of a thing. I think they
Okay.
all negotiate. So I think it would be Yi Min, to be honest with you, and then the board would agree to it or not. But
Yeah.
it would
But
also be nice
yeah.
where you could schedule it every year. And so people like me and you and 99% of the other shooters who have a day job and then they shoot or compete on the side. It'd be nice knowing every January from January 10th to January 24th, I'm going to take off 2 weeks from work. I'll
Yeah.
save up all my other vacation days, take
Yeah.
that time off every year. I can plan it. It'd be perfect.
Yeah. I'm. Yeah. I can't. I can't agree more. Yeah. I think that. Well, there's one thing.
Okay.
The range is not ready. So somebody has to push that. Yeah.
Right. But I mean, if they started now,
Yeah.
maybe 2 years down the road, 3
Yeah.
years,
Even 1
whatever it
year.
is.
Yeah. If
Okay.
people are committed, yeah, even 1 year. Yeah. That's I believe that's possible. Yeah.
And if you go into cahoots with the National Shooting Sports Foundation, there might be a way where, multiple organizations come together with the range facility and say, look, because of your location to a major airport hub of a city that can handle hundreds of
Unlimited.
thousands.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's unlimited. Yeah.
It'd be very easy. Then, this is where we want to create our nationals every year for whatever.
Yeah.
I think you could do that.
I would
So
I would bet pretty much anyone that you talk to will say that's a great idea. Yeah. I don't think anybody could possibly disagree with that.
yeah,
Yeah.
that would be a hard one to
Yeah.
argue for sure.
Yeah.
Until next time.
Don't be a little bitch.
Yeah.